And hello, everyone. Welcome to another Gambit podcast. I am SoloBase15. I'm here with my good friend Zareth, and more importantly, we have a very special guest. Look at that, Morty McFly, hiding in the background. Mort, how are you today?
I'm good, man. I'm very good. I'm tired. I've been up all day. I've been looking forward to this, though, so nothing could slow me down from this one.
We've been looking forward to it too, even if Solo does say hurtful things like "more important."
yeah, exactly.
Oh,
I've got to say this. So, there's got to be a disclaimer here. Anything I say that comes out of my mouth that's stupid, because I know I'm dealing with two big brains. I blame Zareth. He asked me to come here. I'm just saying. All right.
it's always blame Zareth. I do anyway.
Solo told me to say that. So.
I
What's up, peoples?
don't really feel like I approve, but
All right.
Who's out there in chat?
That's-
Say your name.
Yeah, well, hello, Geek Girl. You're the only person that's talked so far, and some
geek girl, cool.
some weird guy named SoloBase15. That's I don't know. Can't trust that character.
I've never liked that guy.
Yeah, me
To
neither.
be honest, hard to trust him.
I'm just going to tell you guys right now, I'm going to apologize outside the disclaimer. So, plain and simple, I have to pay for it. But go ahead.
Oh. Well, thank you, sir.
Yeah, anytime. Thanks for having me. And like I said, this is my apologies for whatever I do stupid going forward. Your show.
That's fair.
Look at that. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Save that Prime sub and put it somewhere else, Geek Girl.
All right, so let's get this started. We actually have a lot to talk about tonight because 3v3 is over. Thank the Lord. But before we get to that, Galactic Challenges happened this week. To meh affair, I guess you could say. What's your guys' opinions on how these went?
For me, there's a little bit of silence. Sorry, there. For me, the 3v3, I enjoy it for about 6 battles. And then after that, I'm like, okay, I've had enough of this. And then it gets really freaking stressful. And then you run into a monster in the last round and you really freaking hate it. But it is what it is. What about you, Z? XZR. See, I'm tired. Zareth. Sounds like a Z. Z, Zareth. See? Stupid number 1. Go ahead,
Zareth. Well, I'm glad 3v3 is over. Galactic Challenges, I don't know how I feel about them. Like, they were over pretty quick. I do know, I'll tell you what. So we had the question was about Galactic Challenges, right, Solo?
Yeah, either way. Whatever way we want to go.
Just making sure I'm not... Okay, so the challenges... I was able to get through everything on my main pretty easy, just because I've developed Sith quite a bit. As like off counters to Galactic Legends, you want some relics on there so you can do more damage, survive a little longer, etc. And my alt and my new account were able to get through a tiny amount, just a very, very small amount. So it's been an interesting thing. I don't know. I tend to, I don't want to be out of line. I don't want to step on toes here, I guess. My thing is, I know that there's a lot of creators who have classified this as like a total fiasco, like a total waste of time. It's ridiculous. There's no gear, extra gear out, all this stuff. And my first inclination is to kind of oppose that a little bit. Like, at least at this time, I think that yes, it's a little disappointing in some ways. Like, I would have liked more gear, but at the same time, they're not advancing the amount of gear or the gear levels. They're not giving us a new way to like make our characters stronger. And so like the gear that we're getting for this is just like free money. It's just like, we don't need this gear suddenly more than we needed it before. And so I guess to me, this seems like I didn't have to spend much time on it, which is great because I don't have a lot of time to spend. and we have a whole week to do it. So even if I don't have much time to spend, I can like slowly progress through it. And I'm fine with it. I would like it perhaps to be more, but this is the first iteration. So my thoughts are, let's wait and see, but I don't have an issue with it. What about you, Solo?
I agree. I mean, before Galactic Challenges came out, I said I don't have enough time to do more events in this game. So give me an event that took 15 minutes and I'm done with it. And I was happy. I tried it on my alt first because if it was a legit thing, I was going to try and stream it. And then I decided a 15-minute stream probably wasn't worth it on my main. But I could do tier 7 with my gear 12 EP and Sith trio with just Malik and Bastila at G13. So it was a challenge to figure out the team for the first 5 minutes, and then after that, I think the rewards were equal to the amount of time I put into it. I would like to see better rewards. Like, say, you get, 4 Red Panda shards, and you get Dooku shards. Like, instead of 4, give me 10. I personally don't need it, but I know if I was still farming those characters, 4 shards is almost nothing, but if you give 10 shards, it's kind of like just a little bit more, you know? It's not breaking the bank. It's not going to give you an extra star on the character, but it's a special event, you know, just almost make it like what the bounty hunter things that they have, where you get 10 for completing it, that I can't remember the name of. Is it Galactic Bounties? Yeah, make it like that. Give me 10 character shards instead of 4, and I would have been happy with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a really good idea. So like people that the newest characters came out like Luke, and it's so hard to get Wampa now with the gift tokens because you need it for all the other characters. So for like Wampa shards, maybe Lando shards where you can't get him anywhere else because he's only got one node. Mm-hmm. Something on that line, that would be all right.
Yeah, they keep talking about ways for younger accounts to progress faster because anyone starting now, I mean, it's just frankly never going to catch up to us without more money than I see in a year from a paycheck. But so if you give character shards for these older characters that they really can't farm to keep with a meta or, you know, keep up an arena, and they just kind of always fall to the background but set you further and further behind, give them away in these types of events where they have to build up their roster to a certain, you know, X percentage or gear level to be able to beat the event. Then once they do, you're helping them progress even faster, and it almost like catches them up quicker.
You know, when I played World of Warcraft years ago, they did a thing where you could easily go from like 0 to 85 like in a couple of days, and that might be a little bit to the extreme, but there's no reason why they can't do something like this. When I recently did my small one, it took me almost 4 months to level just to 85, and then you throw mods and everything else in there. You're right. There's no way to catch up.
Well, mods. Was it your stream that I was watching earlier that was talking about people whaling and you can never catch up on mods?
I don't think it was me today, but I've talked about that before.
it was. I watched you and Ando today, so it might have been on Ando's stream, but that's the saddest truth. Like, no matter how much money you put into the game early on, you can get your account to 4 million GP with however many thousands of dollars. Most people won't have over 100 speed mods. If they do that, though.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. You know, I've been starting my new account project, and that's exactly it. Like, not only if you get the hyperdrive bundle, like you get all these you know, high-ish gear characters, and you get all these opportunities to advance your account and everything, and that's great. But you don't get many Zetas, and you know, you have all these characters who suddenly want Zetas, and you don't have mods either. Like I was talking to my buddy Mr. Episdoe, who you know, a lot of you guys will know who he is from our matches in the past, but he started like he just got a hyperdrive bundle account, and he was like, well, I've been winning all my matches lately because I've been paired with other people with hyperdrive bundles, and I know about mods, so I've been winning. Like that was his whole thing. I know about mods.
Yeah, and
that's
that
true.
Is the difference. Yeah.
Yeah. With Galactic Challenges, the one thing I will say, I've watched a lot of different people, read a lot of different opinions, and everybody's complaining because they want, they wanted a daily or, every other day type of event type thing, and they're complaining because of this is a 7-day event, because as is typical, everybody likes to complain without doing research. So I put the quote up from the State of the Galaxy here on the screen from 2 weeks before this event started, and it's, listen guys, we're doing different lengths to these events just to see what works best for our community, because let's not remember, this is the same people that want us to do light side geo and dark side geo TB in 24 hours, and the community is like, whoa, don't do that, we want 36 hours to stay. So this time, in what they call the exhibition season, they're like, oh, we're going to give you a couple different lengths of time to see what people use. And, like, I swear I saw streams where people were literally yelling at the chat because they're like, it's the length isn't a big deal. Why are you complaining about that? But,
That's what he said.
Touche. That's just been my biggest pet peeve for like the past week. Of everyone's like, 7 days, do they not listen to us? I was like, do you not listen to them? That's
Yeah.
And the answer is they don't. But yeah.
No, it's unfortunate. And for me, I try to be the advocate of CG even when they have their fails, because it is an experiment period. But like with this thing, they wanted to do, hey, we're going to test this out. Let us know how it is. Give us some feedback. That's more than as far as I've been playing the game, only 2.5 years. You guys got a lot more than I do, but from the time I've been playing, they've never done that, which I blame on a lot of the content creators for the negativity.
Mm-hmm.
And who wants to talk to anybody who constantly talks poorly about them? You know what I mean?
Right. Well,
I see a heavy improvement coming from CG from that standpoint.
Yeah, I everyone will say that I'm a CG apologist, but it's not. It's the fact that I'm playing a game that I enjoy.
Yes.
So I'm willing to give them a little more leeway because I don't care if it's pay to win. I mean, you look at my alt account that's completely free to play for at least the past 2 years since I took it over, and I'm still winning on it. But I like the game. I hate when other people, and we complain about Reddit all the time on this podcast, but I hate when Reddit tells me you're not allowed to enjoy the game you actually enjoy because I say so, I'm free to play, and I can't win. It's like, no, you can't win because you're not actually trying to win.
Yeah.
Not because you're free to play. There's a difference there.
Yeah,
right.
This game, in order to be extremely successful, you have to do a lot of your research. You need to pay attention, get involved in the community. The one thing about this place is everybody loves to share their information. Everybody loves to brag. Some of them are more humble than others, and they love to share information. Nobody hides secrets, and you don't see that in anything else you do. It's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, you go into any mission, you go into any fight, and you just go to YouTube and search, Jedi Knight Luke versus Supreme Leader Kylo, and like 18 videos pop up. Now, some of them are going to be against comps that you would never see in an actual arena, except for that one team that they found. But there's always a way to find information. I can't win, Bodhi. I can't win because I suck. That's actually what I mean. But
I like it when people will admit things like that. That's great.
They should. I admitted it I got to level 59. I took a 6-month break. I came back. I was dumb as a rock on the game. My first day back, I crossed from 59 to 60. And when I started the game, fleets weren't a thing. and apparently became a thing while I took my break. And they start at 60. So the first day back, I get this message of, "Oh, congrats! You made level 60. Here's a fleet shard." I was in the bottom of both arenas for like 3 months until, uh, for you actually had Ranger J on your stream earlier today. I watched Jedi Academy and the RSG stream because there weren't as many content creators back there, and I watched them every week. And it took me like 3.5 months, but just by watching them, listening to them, I kind of figured out how it all worked, and then just kind of went from there. I feel like a lot of people are just say, "This is stupid. I can't counter a Galactic Legend without a Galactic Legend. This game is dumb."
Yeah. Yeah. And you hear a lot of that, and it's unfortunate because there are plenty of people out there. The game is set for, there's a counter for everything. The unfortunate part with Galactic Legends is that there's no synergized counter. So you do have to break up your teams, but there's a counter for everything.
Yes. Now, if you
Solo and I would, there'd be people in our guild back in the day when we used to, back in the days of 50 DME, and I remember just having conversations with some of them. They're like, "Well, this just sucks. Like, why should I even play Grand Arena? I don't have Darth Revan, and there's no way to beat him other than having Darth Revan. Like, this is so stupid." Like, they'd rant about these things. I'm just doomed to fail. And I'm like, well, you're doomed to fail because you refuse to even listen to us. Because, it's like, you have a really strong Padme squad. You should try that. And at one point, like in an unguarded moment, I think he just like tried it. And he was like, "Oh, really? Did you guys know that Padme can beat Darth Revan?" And I was just like, I just didn't even say a single thing. I just moved on because what do you even say after pounding it into his head for so long? But like for so long he was convinced he couldn't win against Darth Revan, and he shouldn't even try. Like, why should I even bother? And I don't know, just frustrating people, I guess.
There's nothing here for me.
Well, people like to feel that they like that feeling of like they're the martyr or whatever, like that's whether even though even as they profess to be miserable, there's so many people who say those kind of things. I don't know. They just do it. They do it because they like that spectacle, that aspect. I don't know, but yeah, I do think there's always a counter. There always is. There's a lot of really smart people in this community who come up with some crazy counters, and I don't know. I guess sometimes it's frustrating that you have to be proactive about finding them, though.
If you look at guys like Clash, right? He's the guy that loves to play the scoundrels. There aren't a whole lot of people that play the type of scoundrels he plays with. So you would more than likely, if it weren't for guys like him, you would never experience that from that standpoint. Guys like Arnold who are willing to wail on Mando, and that's why a lot of people like to watch the bigger channels like that, because they want to see what could possibly be in store for them. So I totally get that. And if we didn't have content creation, I mean, there'd be a lot of dum-dums out there. I honestly think the game would be a little more boring. That's my opinion, because I like to learn it.
Yeah, I would agree with that completely.
Absolutely. Yeah. Anyways, we're so.
I'm sorry, I guess I was a little off base. You guys were actually talking about Galactic Challenges.
That's par for the course on this podcast. We start with something, and then you can see Zareth start to get worried. He's like, all right, there's an outline, people.
I get so worried.
No. I like my little logo right there. I just noticed it.
Oh, yeah, that's it.
Very nice. Nice touch. Yeah. Nice touch. Who's unbeatable? Kind of some teams seem like, is that Mont Matha? No.
Monoliths. Yeah. Like gas.
Monoliths. Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah. Gas 5v5 is still very hard to counter. I got both CLS counters up to ridiculous levels, relic levels to counter him, and it's just not. It's still not a guarantee counter. I do agree with the gas one, or like Darth Revan in 3v3. think I won half my matches just because I put Darth Revan on defense and said, "Hey, go beat it."
Yeah,
and
go beat it.
And my opponents didn't.
Yeah.
They were like, "No, actually, I refuse." You're like, "Thank you." Yeah, my opponent last night, actually. I guess I'll talk about it in a little bit. But my opponent last night tricked me. He put bad mods on Darth Revan, and so I put my Darth Revan on defense, thinking he was gonna struggle to beat him. And it turns out his Darth Revan's 4-speed faster than mine, so we just mirrored it for 52.
Oh wow!
It was very interesting. I'm glad. I appreciate that
you were looking at his current mods.
Yeah, I mean, what else are you gonna do? Like,
yeah,
I don't know. No, it's fine. I've talked about maybe doing that at some point.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you have done that.
Some people say that I'm dedicated with some of the stuff that I do, but that moving your mods in order to trick your opponent, that's dedicated.
Yeah.
Good old Maurice asks, "When do you 3 sleep?" And I think that's kind of creepy.
Only when I'm thinking about you, Maurice. Only when I'm thinking about you.
Not when I'm going up against him. How about that one?
Yeah.
The night before.
Congratulations on the split on the series, by the way.
Yeah.
Is that Letterman Jack available on Mort's website?
Yeah, you bet, buddy. Morty McFly. Make like a tree and get out of here, he says.
Make like a tree and get out of here. Yeah.
Moon made that one for me, Maurice. I don't know if you've ever seen it. Morty McFly. There's a couple other good ones. I'll have to show them to you sometime on stream.
Yeah. All right. Since we started talking about 3v3 again, I guess I'll bring us back to the outline of...
There we go. I was waiting for Solo to get nervous.
3v3 is over. Thank God. Yes. More, you said you got sick of it after about match 6. I got sick of it after about the announcement that we had 3v3.
Yeah.
Zareth got sick of it when he realized Galactic Legends were on 3v3. Other than us all being sick of it by the end, what were your general opinions about this 3v3? And I guess, Mort, we start with you since you're the honored guest here.
Well, thank you for that. For me, I was blown away because I said there was no way in the back of my mind that there was any chance 3v3 was coming back almost back to back. I mean, we only got one 5v5 in between there. So I have no idea what they were thinking bringing it back that fast. Because, I mean, like I said, I was already tore up over it the first time. I had just got my brain back into 5v5 and then they swap it up again. I like 3v3 from the theory crafting standpoint. I like learning. It's a definite experience, but I also believe there are so many accounts that are unintentionally made for 3v3 because of the way that they built themselves up. You know what I mean? So I might have strictly stayed focused with 5 guys across the board. Well, what do I do with my other 2? Well, now I got a theory craft. While some other guy might have 5s and 3s and 2 of these guys, he's got Newt, Dooku, but nothing to go with it. So it actually works in his favor. So yeah. It's a struggle for me from that standpoint, but overall I enjoy it.
That was my exact argument against 3v3. What? Probably when it started in December. Back in March, I don't think I was as anti. No, that's a lie. I was even more anti because I had this Darth Revan team, and I had HK. HK is the biggest example of my hatred for 3v3 because I had literally my best set of offense mods on HK, and he is completely worthless in 3v3. Like, one of my best geared and modded characters is worthless in 3v3, and people are like, well, you can put him with, a couple droids because he's got the lead. It's like, just because you can throw him on a team doesn't make him good. That and Scavray was actually the other example, except for I can't say that anymore because of good old Maurice and that stupid resistance team. But
use.
It was put to use. Then again, there wasn't Watt back last March. But But that's my biggest problem with 3v3 is I build up teams. I'm the type of person that loves team synergy, and 3v3 doesn't require team synergy. It just sometimes it's here's 2 tanks and a healer, and we're gonna time you out if you didn't save the right team, and that just bores the hell out of me.
Let me ask you this before we move on to Zareth. Why not 4v4?
Probably the same. It would probably be the same complaint.
Why do they keep going 3v3? Why not 4x4?
I'd be fine with 3v or 4v4.
I mean,
if you want to mix it up, why bring 3v3 right back? Why not bring 4v4?
Because that would take coding.
I was going to say, is that coding? Is that why we got to worry about it? I mean, they all still have the same synergies. They're going to work together because I already know the code says any one of these 200, how they intermix, it's there. All they have to do is code up to add another player or -1 player character into the thing. I don't know.
Yeah. I would like 4v4 over 3v3 just because there's one extra person on the team.
It's closer to 5v5.
Exactly. That's exactly it.
Your HK becomes viable again.
Yeah. 3v3. So I guess my take on 3v3 is really like I like it on some levels. Like my friend Hens actually made a good point today, and he said one thing that he really likes about 3v3, and he's not like a 3v3 apologist, but he was like, the thing I like about it is it really underlines how important mods are on certain characters, and it really emphasizes character kits, and you have to learn like these different little nuances because every ability matters so much more. In 5v5, like how many people really know like resistance hero pose kit very well? Like there's been times that like a bunch of like really experienced players have been like, why did that buff go away? And like no one even knows. And it turns out it's because Poe is in the team, and like if there's someone inspired and you hit them, then your buffs go away. But like none of us knew because we don't know the nuances of these characters. And in 3v3, we do have to learn those to some degree. Like how many people off the top of their head knows what Dengar's lead does, for instance? Not like a test to you guys probably do know, but like Dengar lead in 3v3 is actually pretty decent. Things like that. So for me, I do like 3v3 in that regard. I like the theory craft available. My problem with it is Galactic Legends just kill it for me. It is like it just dominates every conversation. It's like if someone messages me and says, "Hey, how do I beat this team?" I know without looking almost. Usually people are asking how to beat this Galactic Legend, and usually it's like you don't
get one.
Team.
Get one.
Are you ready for 24 losses first before you get the kill shot or the chance at a kill shot? Yeah.
I'll say one other thing if I can about 3v3. The one thing I don't like about 3v3 is because the way my lineup's set up. Out of my 7 losses, 5 of them came in 3v3. That is the reason I hate 3v3.
That's fair. It's funny. I hate 3v3. I've said from the beginning I hate 3v3. For some reason, my records during the 3v3 seasons are always better than the 5v5. Go figure. It's
But it may be lineup. It may be your smarts.
I
don't have a great lineup, and I don't have the greatest smart, so I rely on 5v5.
Yeah. I mean, and it's also just like a question of, do you have the right counters? And honestly, in some ways, did you get lucky enough to place the right things on defense that your opponent wasn't expecting? And did they do the same? Like, there's a lot of nuance to that. And I'm not saying that it's entirely luck or anything, but there is an element of like, oh, well, I put everything that I had that could beat that on defense, so it's going to be tough. Like, look, good old Maurice like worked his way through it, but he was like, he was saying in during Solo's stream yesterday, he was like it doesn't matter how strong of teams you have, if you don't have something that counters Darth Revan, then you got to use good teams, and that's so it took him 4 good teams to get through your
basically
Solo.
Yeah. Which is better than the last time we faced, where it took like 24 teams to get through it.
Yeah, it's no joke. 3v3, man. I love the way someone put it for me a while ago. I think it was even at the start of this season. They said that 3v3 is a good novelty mode.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like 5v5, I love it. And honestly, if right now the way Galactic Legends dominate things, I would choose actually just to get rid of 3v3 entirely if I, and replace it with 5v5 until something changes. But I'm like, I would be good with 3v3 every like 4 or 5 months, because 5v5 can get wearing as well over time. It's just we'd have to do something drastic. Like, can we remove Galactic Legends and maybe like remove a couple of the awful characters we had to gear to get him there, like Phasma and Rose, and then we use those, we use the base GP from those accounts to get pairings. Like, I would be excited about that. I'd be good with it. Of course, this would be in months from now, but I don't mind 3v3. Just the idea of having extremely overpowered characters in the setting where you can barely beat them when you have 5 characters available, but then you remove 2 of those characters and it's just dumb as hell. So
if you want to make it really interesting, and it wouldn't take anything to change. I don't even think it would take code, very little. Is make, maybe it's the top is 3v3, the bottom is 5v5, and then you got ships in the rear. That would be interesting.
Could you imagine?
I've thought of that too. So I'd be down with all kinds of just like weird speculative stuff, as long as it wasn't guaranteed that it was always going to be that way. Like, if they were like, okay, listen guys, for 1 week we're going to try a map where, exactly like Mort says, like, you're going to have one zone with a bunch of 3v3. You can only use 3v3 to beat it. And one zone with a bunch of 5v5. Like, that could create some extremely interesting theory craft, as long as they made it so that Galactic Legends couldn't be in 3v3 part of it.
Yeah. And could you remember when they did Mace in the TW?
Oh, because no.
They never brought it back, but it was God. Interesting. It was fun. I thought it was fun to play. We had a trip with it, And then the best part was, like, some guilds that weren't serious or even semi-serious didn't even realize what was happening, why they were being face raped.
So I was running Territory Wars at the time for a guild, and it was just a nightmare to play on that. Like, when I was taking it seriously.
Yeah.
It was just like, I remember like, we read about the Mace thing. I was like, oh, this is going to be really good. And so, like, right before we had all of our deployment and stuff, before we had lock, I told everyone, hey, everyone, like, you can get Mace to gear 10, and all it costs is like one, I don't remember, like droid collar or something. And so, like, we had like 10 people just go in and like gear him up to 10, and then the guild we faced hadn't done that, and I think we just rolled those guys. But it gets to be super miserable when both guys or both guilds just like put all their clones in, and clones are super overpowered. Like, they haven't been reworked or anything yet, but they'd gotten this crazy like short-term rework where they just, like, nothing could beat them. And like, you had people taking screenshots of like Territory Wars where neither side had cleared a zone because everyone had just put clones down.
Yeah, it's like the team that won had like 20 points from attack because they were able to take out 2 Gear 8 clone teams, and then it's
that one was horrible. I remember that one.
Yeah, just and maybe it would be fun if with like a really high level guild that can actually have the flexibility and the players are just have the buy-in. But man, that guild had varying levels of buy-in. Like, a lot of people did like the territory war culture that we had kind of espoused, but like. Yeah. There were people who just didn't really care that much. And so we're like, hey guys, we need you to like do this exact team. And everyone's like, I don't care enough to.
Did you just say attention. Espoused?
I did.
I told you, try not to make me look stupid.
I'm
failing
sorry
already.
I say things like that sometimes.
No, good on you.
Good.
Bad on me.
Thanks for the wrist slap. I am duly chastened.
You're all good. It's not your fault. I'm uneducated.
Uh-oh.
All good. It's only not my fault if I don't try to correct it, though. Just kidding. I'm playing. Yeah, the 3v3 it's an interesting thing. Solo and I have disagreed about it forever, and it's a strange thing actually to me that we actually like now we kind of agree. Like we're both kind of united in our hatred of the current state of 3v3.
As with the Night Sisters, Zareth finally saw the light and came to the good side. One day he'll admit that Phoenix was a debacle. One day.
Oh man, Solo. This is fun.
What do I not know about the Phoenix and Zareth?
Oh.
Go ahead, Solo. Let's hear it in your words.
So Zareth needed an quote-unquote off-meta counter to Karth. So he got his Phoenix up to gear 12 with 5 Zetas? Yeah, you have them fully Zeted, right?
They do have their Zetas, yeah.
With 5 Zetas to counter the Karth team. That he used that Phoenix team on Karth, I think, 3 times before realizing that he could use something different.
That's absolutely false, actually. But I mean, it's cool if you.
I appreciate it because I can't stand them Phoenix. Oh god.
So, yeah, I think Phoenix are. I think they're pretty decent, actually.
Okay, spoiler.
For some
spoiler.
things.
Hold on, spoiler. Are you going to start your new account with Phoenix?
Yep. Oh, yeah.
See, this is where we agree, though, because Phoenix are just the fastest route to Thrawn, and
They are.
Thrawn is king.
And Emperor Palpatine
And
we have
Palp,
Vader
yeah.
now. Like
Yes,
Vader
yes.
is huge in the new
Yeah.
the new Vader is huge in my starting. Like people are like, you're never going to be able to counter Geos. I'm like, except with Vader, which everyone has like at level 50, because I've been playing this new account. Like,
Yeah.
you absolutely can counter Geos. You'll have Vader, you'll have Palpatine. Like you're good. So
Yeah.
you know,
The Vader change did make a lot of changes to the community of the world, and this
Oh, yeah.
big change.
Yeah. So, you know, and you'll have Thrawn to go with them. So to me, I think it's not nearly as egregious as people are saying. All these rabble rousers want to get all upset that I'm not going the Geonosian route. And I mean, I get that, but at the same time, I also feel frustrated because the people who cite it are usually people who say like, oh, well, Arnold talked about it in his new player guide. And when you look at his new player guide, I'm not saying anything about him as a player or his ideas. He played his new account for like a month.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think
that
it's
was
because he realized it. I don't think he thought it all the way through. Personally, Separatists, you can't get their ships. You can't get Malevolence forever. There's no sense. The Geos alone makes sense, but
In theory, I got what he was doing.
yeah, me too.
In practice, I don't think it works as well as he thought it was going to.
No.
And there's nothing wrong with making mistakes about that. I mean, that's kind of how you do it. You come up with an idea, you try it, you lose, and you're like, oh, all right, I'll try something different.
All right. Well, and he also he also like started with a hyperdrive bundle, I think. So like that also makes it, you know, my new player account is 100% just you know, free to play, basically.
I'm pretty sure his brand new account was free to play.
Oh, was it free to play? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, then I'm wrong. But yeah, like I do just think, so what are you going to do with how do you get Geonosians? Like right now, my account is at level 60. It'll be 62 tonight. How do you get Geonosians to be anything close to respectable, especially in Galactic War, which is a huge part of the early game? How do you get your Geonosians to actually beat Galactic War? I'm not even close to being able to farm the Geobrood Alpha, and Geonosians aren't anything without him.
I did a new account, and the way it worked for me was I leveled the Jedi, which I used ones that would eventually go over to Padme, Anakin, and all those guys. And Basti in the Galactic War, every battle gets protection brand new. So it made the Galactic War easy. And then as soon as I slowly grinded the Geonosians up, and then as soon as I got Alpha, he opened, then I just ransacked Alpha. And as soon as I was 80, we get Alpha at 83, 82. So before I was 85, I had Alpha all the way leveled up. Then I had the Geo ships ready as well. But it takes dedication without a doubt. But the Jedi Bounty Hunter was the way I went.
Yeah, so the way the route I'm going, and this is pretty far afield from our from what our topic was going to be, but like bounty hunters are a foundational team. You need bounty hunters. Yep. Honestly, like they are super important.
Credit highs.
To the foundation. Like people scoff, they're like, bounty hunters, what do they kill? And like they're right on a lot of levels. Like they're not like meta, so to speak. In 5v5, 3v3 they're absolutely relevant, but 5v5, like I put them on defense. They'll steal banners, sometimes they get defenses depending on the situation. They're useful, but they're not meta. They're not a team. Like it would be nice to just be able to immediately sync gear into a Jedi Revan squad from day one. That would be wonderful. But the reality is, like, you can't do that necessarily, and bounty hunters help you unlock all the good things. Like, it's so important. Like, if you want a good rebel fleet, you need Millennium Falcon. You need bounty hunters to do that. You need Chewbacca. You need, like, there's all these important things, and bounty hunters kill a ton of stuff in early game as well. Like that Bastila team you're talking about, like boss lead bounty hunters demolish that every time. So
when I did it too, I learned that like the bounty hunters were relevant for 9 events. They were needed or usable in 9 events. So that was good having them there as well.
Yeah,
they're solid. But
plus, we basically started this podcast with the idea of, listen here, idiots. Keep your bounty hunters for offense in Grand Arena. They're guaranteed 60 banners for a win.
The early Grand Arena, that's how it was. Like we preached that hard. Like,
oh yeah.
Like bounty hunters, you get 60 every time, and it's all about that efficiency game. We've kind of shifted our methodology and ideology a little bit, but like bounty hunters are great in Grand Arena just for that reason. Like they'll steal banners.
Is Boss ship.
Oh yeah.
And
it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, Houndstooth is amazing as well. You got to farm it the second it's available. Yeah. And my new account, actually, I just unlocked ships, so it's going to be an interesting situation.
For me, the hardest thing to decide when I was making the new account for like the videos and stuff was where to go with ships. And I learned some lessons. I made some errors. I'll tell you that. That was the hardest decision.
Yeah. And that's why my alt is a 6.2 million alt. So I didn't have to start all over.
Yeah, you're the smartest one in the bunch.
So the thing that I'm going through currently with my account situation. So I have my main account, and I'm not giving that up. I put way too much time, effort, and money into it. Like that's if I quit that account, I'd just be done. I have an alt account though that's at 3.7. I'll play Division 3 one more time before I move up to Division 2. And I'm starting to have most of the same teams as my main, just not as developed. And but I've kept my relic levels low. I'm like on if I win one more match, I'll have won 60 in a row on that account. And so I'm doing really well. But now I have this new player account as well, and it's too much. Like it's just, it's a lot to do 3 accounts, of course. And so I'm like, I can't give up my new player account because it's new, and I don't want to be that guy who just gives up after a month.
Ooh, too soon.
And so I don't know what exactly I'm gonna do. Like I've also put a ton of effort into my alt, and I even paid for the hyperdrive bundle on the middle account. Like there's money aspect to it. I'm wondering if I should make it like, if I can get a 100 win streak on that account, I just quit or something. But anyways, it's a huge time commitment to have a new account as well. So
I tried that. I only got to 27.
To 27.
27 wins in a row, and then I ran into a guy that was 1.1 million, and I was 890, and he had freaking DR JKR relic.
Oof.
I mean, it was you could tell it was a year-old account that the guy just sat and grinded and grinded and grinded and never did anything with it. It was a disgustingly good account.
So Cephas Boaz in the comments says, I would drink arsenic if I had to do 2 light side territory battles. And I'm right there. I'm like, this is miserable.
Oh god, yeah. My alt account, I kind of feel bad for my alt accounts guild, and then I realized that they really don't care as well. But I think I got my battles done like 2 hours before last phase ended, because I was just like, I really don't want to do this last night. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh crap, there's only 2 hours left. I need to actually try here.
Yeah, it's a mess. At least with dark side territory battles now, like I only have to try on one day on my alt, because the guild I'm in, it just gets all the stars anyways, but regardless of how hard I go in day 3. So I'll still go in and push auto, but day 4 is the day I'm like, well, I'll try to get a couple waves. But what I'll try to do is donate my gear 10 Darth Revan is what I'll try to do.
Yeah.
So then we can save a Darth Revan for someone else who's going to get points for us.
And Bodhi is here monitoring. Don't worry. On my main account, I do my attacks earlier. It's the alt account that I just can't.
Yeah.
Physically can't.
On my alt account, I totally do all my attacks right when you say Bodhi. Bodhi. We're in the same. Just to be clear, my alt is in the same guild as Solo's main.
Yeah.
They suffer me to be there despite my GP disparity, and honestly, it's pretty gross because my alt now is like almost has a 7-star negotiator and malevolence at 3.7 million GP. Like, it's pretty dumb. So that being said, I am so short on Rolo shards. It's not even fun. So anyways,
what GP are you guys at right now?
6 point. Have I reached 6.8 yet? No, still 6.7.
I'm at 6.7.
Yeah.
And man, that's crazy to look at because I'm actually well into it. I'm closer to 6.8. But getting Ray unlocked, like I saved all of my relics for like the last minute. Like I wanted to avoid getting bad matchups for having geared up worthless resistance characters. So what I did, I on week 3, I think it was, of this Grand Arena, I signed in or whatever to Grand Arena. I locked in, and then I upgraded all of my mods on the resistance all the way up, or all of my relics, sorry, all the way up to their required levels. Like BB-8 had been Relic 1, Jedi Training Ray was Relic 1, etc. So I got them up to 7 and 7 and 5 and 5 and 5 and 5 and anyway, so I got them all up, and I started the Ray grind right away, and then I was able to unlock Ray before lock in on week 4. But that did some crazy stuff. Like I was in the low 6.6 range. That sounds ridiculous to say, but yeah, the low 6.6 range, and now I'm in the high 6.7, just by magic, feels like.
Yeah. I have a ton of relics saved up that I'm just not applying on my account too, because I'm so used to triple farming that relics, the relic salvage material, that I just keep doing it even though I'm done with Kylo and Rey. So I have like 300 of each salvage material just sitting there waiting to be applied when I want to relic somebody. I'm like, I'm kind of not doing this anymore. But then I'm going to get Hoth Rebel Scout to Gear 13 probably by the end of the week. And he's probably going to end up being R4 just like the Geos. These old characters, they just don't affect my matchmaking GP anymore, so I can put as many relics as I want on them.
Right.
Yeah. And then we have more. What's your GP level?
Sorry, my wife was talking to me. It's currently 4.23. Baby account.
That's not that baby of a count, though.
Yeah, 4.2 is fine. You're almost to Division 1. You're almost one of us. But I mean, you've been kicking some serious butt in Division 2, though.
There's not much to do. Just tell me.
Sorry, hang on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm gonna turn on my air conditioning at risk of being lower sound quality, guys.
4.2 million. Former collector, former TW collector, turned focused at about 3.2 million. So it took a lot of transitioning to get there. I don't do the Sith raid, so when I hear you talk about 300 pieces, and I'm like, oh my god, I struggle to get to 50. I've got 9 total relics at that, and I just opened Negotiator last week. So I'm proud of my record for that reason, but
no, absolutely.
The key point is I love playing it.
Yeah. You have the record that you do. You like to say, that you're not that smart, but the amount of planning that you do, and I sit there and watch your stream sometimes. I'm like, and you'll be like, all right, I know he has this, this, and this. He's not going to beat this, and he can't beat this, so I'm going to win by beating 2 teams in this zone, and I'm done. I'm like,
yeah.
He went that deep? Good lord.
Yeah. I've spent anywhere from 1 hour to one guy. I ended up beating him, and it paid off. But one guy I think I spent 3.5 hours on once. I was literally, it was way too much. I ain't going to lie. I stopped planning on my other 2 accounts just for that reason, because I said, okay, I'm just going to dedicate to this main account, and that's it. I'm done.
That's dedication on a whole other level for me. Like I truly do. I admire that, and I don't spend quite that much time. I know my fight with Episdoe, I think I spent about an hour and a half preparing for that one, trying to get ready. I knew that was going to be a rough one, which it was, and I was glad I prepared. But honestly, that just goes into what me and Solo preach all the time, though, and that's have a plan. Like go into your matches with a plan, and like you're not going to find any fault from us in actually living that advice. So
yeah. I do most of my planning the morning. You start being able to place your defenses at nighttime, and then kind of come around to the morning, and I get to work, and I don't want to start working once I get to work. So I do most of my defensive planning for that first hour at work.
Nice.
Because I don't want to start my day. Except for like the big matches, I'll start thinking about nighttime. And usually I'm like sending Zareth stuff like, I think this is too weak on defense. There's a lot of that, especially this Gom match. Good lord. Going up against him the first time, I was like, all right, I need to do something. I need to clear him. I need to do this. Then I see the matchup a second time. I was like, he already knows my defenses because I literally fought him less than 7 days ago. How the hell am I going to change this up? That one took some actual thinking. And then it didn't pay out. So,
Yeah. Why did I bother?
And then nothing worked.
I love when you open up the back and in chat he goes, surprise.
Yeah, that was funny.
Oh, stupid JTR.
Kobe said your boss is in the stream right now.
That's fine.
Doc is paid. For me, about 90% of the time, when I go into plan, within the first 15 minutes, I know how to shut them down, and that's what pays off for me.
Yeah.
It's those other ones where, because I don't have DR, I got to figure out how to get around them or block them and blah blah whatever else. Those are really the ones that take me a long time to plan out. If they're on GG, 90% of your people play the same way every time, so it makes it pretty easy.
Yeah, there are a lot of people that make it easy, and at the beginning of 3v3, for at least the first 2 weeks, I ran into, between my two accounts, because both accounts have Galactic Legends on them, so I'm facing Galactic Legends on both accounts, but on my alt account, I only have Galactic Legend Ray, and 5 of my first 6 fights were people that just didn't want to deal with Galactic Legends, and so they put down Ray, they put down a team, generally like Grievous and Watt, like they made it so clear that it was going to be impossible to clear my Ray. It was just like, oh, so you're just saying I have to beat you more efficiently in the other 7 fights? Here's my Ray. I know you can't beat that. Have fun, guys.
Yeah. Yeah. And that with a bloated account like that, I totally feel what you guys are feeling with going against Rays, because going against DR, I do not have a natural counter for it. So it's kind of, I know it's extreme to the Slacker and Ray, but it's kind of the same way for me. And that's why I spend so much time planning for that.
Yeah. Well, especially in 3v3, DR is by far the 3rd best defensive team in the game behind Galactic Legends. Yeah. Even if you have DR, if you have a slower Darth Revan, it's basically like you don't have Darth Revan.
Yeah. And that's a shame. You should be able to play with some skill in order to pull one out. But unfortunately, it comes down to mods.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and Mort, I feel your pain, man. The season I got top 10 on my alt in Division 3, the last couple matches, the guys had Darth Revan and they placed it, and I don't have a great counter to that in 3v3. And so what you end up having to do is just, you throw in a burner first to get rid of all their specials. And then it's like, how do I kill Bastila? Because once you kill Bastila, then things get a lot more approachable. They get a lot easier. And so you might spend 2 or 3 teams trying to kill her, though. And then you're like, okay, so now I can throw in bounty hunters and maybe they'll finish him off. But if Malik is too tough, then I'll just kill Darth Revan. And then I have to use a team. I have to use KRU to kill Malik. And then I've used 4 of my best teams.
Yep.
And then in 3v3, it's like, now I still have to clear, I don't know, another 10 teams or something. Like, I got down to one of my second to last match on my alt this season. I got down to some pretty desperate levels. It was like I used Watt with Dengar and Cad Bane. Like wow. That level of desperation. I got the clear, but like that's how it goes in 3v3, and that's in some ways Darth Revan is the Galactic Legend of the lower divisions.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Except for those people that have a 2 million account with a Galactic Legend.
Right. Well, and then you just take in one Galactic Legend and you wipe the whole team for 55. So
right. Yeah.
So stupid. Anyways, why don't we go around and talk about each of our matches? We can just kind of give a quick recap of each match and then, pass it to the next person. So Solo, how was your first match this week? How did that go?
Lord, testing me here, Zareth. It was a fairly easy win. So my first match this week was up against basically a collector. He had 32 R7s, but only 1 Galactic Legend and no Jedi Knight Luke. So he got matched up with everybody had double Galactic Legends, but he just has so many relics that he didn't. And I mean, you know what that's it's like going up against a double galactic legend when you don't have one. I just kind of strolled through him, which I'm okay with.
Fair. I always said that you kind of like you like to stroll. That seems like a good word for you.
It's perfect.
You're a stroller. That's a totally different word for people who have kids. But anyways, so Mort, how did your first match go? And actually, why don't you tell people like how have you done this season? Because they don't. People here might know. So we've got a lot of people from Fort Mort listening, but also for the people listening to the podcast later, like what's the greater context of your expertise and prowess at Grand Arena?
So there's a lot of things I don't know in this game, but the one thing, and people tell me all the time, dude, you should brag more about it. You should brag more about it. I'm like, nah, I'm not gonna brag about it. I said it's a record, but I ended up losing finally. Went 11-1, lost the last round. It was overall, if you count my record, I think I'm 113-7. 3 of those are non-set defenses. 2 were against guys that had JKR DR that I couldn't get past, and they went full D and just took out one of mine, and it was over. Nothing I can do. So overall, I mean, I'm proud of the record. But going into this Grand Arena, I think I was on, when I lost that one, I think I was on an 18 streak. But this last round, how do you say it? So round 4, fight 1 was an experience.
So week 4, the way, and everyone disagrees on how to say it, but like
2 battles ago.
I always just say week 4 because it's the 4th week, and match whatever 1, 2, 3.
Match 1. So week 4, match 1 was an experience because I like to go late. I get the advantage too by going late. I know what I have to get. So these guys, there's a joke. My closest win is 3 seconds to the timer running out for a total Grand Arena reset. And so this round, it was like 3:10. I was on my alt. I had just finished. I just barely beat the guy, and my internet went out. So I'm like, oh shit! And I'm waiting. And then I went and grabbed my phone, and I had no mobile data either. I had no mobile data. So I got 40 minutes to finish. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna run up to the store real quick. So maybe I'll get some mobile up there. And I ran around, nothing there. Drove around to the high school, ran like 3 miles around town. I got a little bit of mobile data, and it finally came up. So I had 17 minutes left to do my battle, and I did the first 3 fights up front, got through him cleanly, and then basically put it on auto and ended up beating the guy. I actually ended up winning by 2 battles because it was the perfect defense. It worked. If I hadn't planned it that way, I would have lost. But it's 17 minutes to win my first round. It was insane. I wish I could have got all that on film.
17 minutes. That's so funny, and you still won.
And it still won. I couldn't believe it. What about you, Zareth?
So my week 1. So this is an interesting week because I finally had non-ultimate Ray available. So that of course changes some things. And she, so I placed her on defense in my first round, and so I was facing a guy from Shadowlands, I think. For some reason, it's like a pretty high level PvP guild, and for some reason, I'm just spacing on the name. My buddy Indigo is actually in that guild, and our friend Darth Evil are both in that guild. So, anyways, I'm facing this guy. I want to make sure. Yeah, so that was round 1. So I'm facing this guy. He knows who I am. Like he messaged me like, hey, we get to face each other. I know, I like your videos, etc., which is always nice when people reach out. And so I placed all my defenses, etc., and all of that, not thinking much of it. I was including Ray. I put Ray with a couple bad-ish characters like L3 and Barris or something. Like Barris isn't even gear 13 yet. And put Darth Revan down, and then as it turns out, like at some point, someone's developed this Darth Vader comp to beat Ray teams in one shot in 3v3. So that's pretty cool. But at the same time, so there's a couple factors that go into it. First off, my opponent, I talked to him. I was like, so if you wouldn't mind, I would appreciate it if you'd attack. My bottom zone. Like you can wait for the rest of it, and if you need to, just wait for the whole thing. That's fine. no huge pressure, but I'm going to be streaming like pretty close to the end, like pretty sure you're going to have time to at least take out my bottom zone. And he's like, oh, well, maybe I could probably do it during my lunch or something. And then like he just never attacked. And then after I was done with my stream, he messages me and he says, I actually watched your stream. It was a good stream. And I was like, so you know what's in my back zone? Because I'd showed everyone my back zone. And so then he proceeded to attack me. And the first attack he did was Darth Vader against my Rey and cleared it with 53. Then he used Supreme Leader Kylo to kill my Darth Revan team for 55. So my two best teams, he averaged 54. And I was like, and he knows what's in my back zone, so he's able to plan it perfectly. And he's attacking like the last hour of the round. And, like my wife asked me something just like so totally innocent. And I was all grumpy. And I was like, I'm just stressed out, leave me alone kind of thing, which isn't great. But so anyways, long story, slightly longer. He ended up tripping up on a team I'd even told the stream about, which is kind of funny. I was like, this team has been giving Jedi Revan a lot of trouble, this General Grievous squad. And so I left it in. And so he failed on that squad. And I ended up getting the win. So I ended up actually kind of derailing and barely full cleared me. So that was good. Yeah, so I got the win despite the...
I had to feel good.
Yeah, well, so, and I do want to clarify. I know a few people were like, oh, man, I hope that cheater loses. Like, he deserves every bad thing and stuff. I don't think he cheated. Like, I put myself out there every day. Like, if I'm going to show everyone my back zone, there is 100% chance that someone can just look at it. Like, I'm making it easily available. And some people would call that good research, frankly.
Back zone, easily available, 100% somebody's coming for it. Is that what I just heard?
What's that?
No, I said, no, never mind. You didn't hear it. It was a dirty joke. Go on.
Oh.
It was the way you just said everything. Yeah.
Oh, did I? That's too bad.
Something along the lines of I show them my back end, 100% are coming for it. And I forget the other one. I don't know. All right. You know, Mort.
Yeah. Fair. Yeah, paint a target in the wrong spot, I guess. But
there he goes again.
Yeah, he's opening himself up there.
Yeah, just spreading it.
Usually it's dad jokes. Tonight,
dads may be involved.
Yeah. Some dads that don't know which direction they're running in.
Yeah. Or I've had a change of heart. But anyways, so yeah, I do think it was a little bit shady. Like, there's no way if I was facing someone who was streaming, like, I would just do my attacks probably on the bottom zone, and then we'd be good. But if I couldn't, I don't think I would watch the stream. But that's me. And frankly, who knows how many people, like, I had a run of like 5 people in a row who knew who I was before I even talked to them. Dang. And that's great, and that's an ego boost and all of that stuff. But like, how many people just knew who I was and didn't reach out, and then watched my stream anyways? Like, it's a risk I'm gonna have to take. So, whether or not he followed the proper etiquette or not, I don't think it was cheating, for whatever that's worth.
Round 2.
Yeah.
Solo, how was your round 2?
Round 2 was interesting because it was the first time I faced a Jedi Knight Luke on defense, and the guy had faster Jedi than me, so I was all paranoid the entire time. And so I countered his Jedi Knight Luke, but then he saved 0 counters for my Darth Revan on defense, and I don't hide the fact that my Darth Revan was on defense in 3v3. In fact, in 12 fights, my Darth Revan was on defense 12 times. You just had to look at my Grand Arena history. But he put his Darth, and he has the slower Darth Revan, so he kept his Darth Revan counter on defense. Struggled to beat my Darth Revan. That's the only losses he had. Meanwhile, I, full cleared him, and it wasn't easy because he actually had double Galactic Legends. He had Rey on defense. He had Jedi Knight Luke on defense, but he made it easy for me because he didn't keep it counter to Darth Revan. And I was like, okay, thanks.
All I got to do is get through. Yeah.
Yeah, so I got through, and there was my 2-0 at that point. Mort, how about you? How'd your second fight go?
Round 2 went well. I planned for it almost the exact same way I did round 1, ironically, and it almost ended the same way. It was the first round I've ever had negotiator, so I was really confident. It stopped both the first round and the second round. They one-shot my top because I basically let them have it kind of easy, and then they failed on all the lower front. And then this is actually probably one of my prouder Grand Arenas because I had a theory craft to get through a big-ass JKR, and my jaw was saved the day. So there was a lot that I got through, but it ended up being a 24-18 to 14-44 full clear. And I don't full clear a lot because I go typically about 60% very heavy defense. So it was a proud round.
Nice. Yeah, my alt, I totally go just full offense and just have like trip you up squads. It's pretty fun. Yeah. Yeah, good on you though. Yeah, my second round, the guy knew who I was again. He actually did attack before I did though. So no issues there. And I'm trying to remember what exactly happened. I think he failed 2 times against my Padme squad. I put my Padme squad up front, and he didn't know what to bring against it, I think. So he failed a couple times against it. And so that was our Friday night live stream, and I was just very efficient that match. I ended up he just didn't place anything that was super problematic for me. I think he kept his Galactic Legends both for offense. So there's something. Gosh, I need to remember now. But at the end result, I got 24-67, and I outscored him by a pretty huge margin. So it ended up being a pretty good round for me. Having 2 Galactic Legends up against people with double Galactic Legends themselves feels good. So, yeah, got the win and into the finals. It was, had a lot of momentum going into it. And yeah, round 3 is the round of woes. So Solo had the most exciting one, I think. How did yours go, Solo?
Good Lord. So the lead up, obviously, like we mentioned before, is I fought good old Maurice on Sunday, and last Sunday, and full cleared him, which he was not happy about. So I'm sitting there watching Operation Metaverse on Thursday night, and all I hear is, well, he full cleared me, so now that just means I need to make my defense tougher.
That's the conclusion he drew. Yeah.
That was the conclusion he drew, and he did. One of the nice things about making Kyber early was it lets you experiment, and if you lose,
amen,
you lose. Like, it sucks because on GA Center, I want to keep my I want to keep my stats up high, but I saw Kiawe, is that how you pronounce his name? Put out this video of... Yeah.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah. Kiawe, that makes sense. I saw him put out a video of Jedi Knight Revan, Jedi Knight Luke, and Gas countering Rey comps in one shot. And Maurice has... His Bastila was too fast for my Jedi Knight Luke counter. So I was like, alright, I'm going to practice an arena with this Jedi Knight Revan and Luke and Gas team, and then I'm going to just use my Supreme Leader Kylo on Darth Revan, one-shot both of them, and get through it. And it's an expensive counter, but if it works to one-shot, fantastic. Except for, you know what it didn't do? I did not one-shot his Rey with that team. Thankfully, I I knocked his General Kenobi out in that one. So I was able to clean up by throwing in a couple burners to get, Rey, the Suicide Rey strategy. I cleaned up with Darth Revan. Got really close because the saber throw didn't kill Rey, but thank God on Vader's base, bonus turn after he comes out of Merciless, was able to kill her with a basic. But when you lose in 3v3 and you go heavy defense, narrator, it didn't. It has the potential to send you on full tilt, and I didn't go full tilt, but I was now out gas, Jedi Knight Revan, Jedi Knight Luke, and Vader, all for killing one team. And so I had to make some decisions trying to clear the other teams. They didn't all pan out. Oh, look at that. Thank you, R4D4. I appreciate the follow. Yeah, I mean, I tried something. It didn't work. Maurice was able to get through my defenses. I think if I kept Kira, I put Kira, Han, and Chewie on defense, and then I split off CLS with 2PO and 3PO. I think if I kept Kira, Han, and Chewie for offense and put somebody else down, I still could have put a strong team down. I think I would have been able to win because I would have been able to kill the Resistance hero team in one shot instead of taking two teams. And I think that's actually what messed me up. So it was a fantastic fight. I mean, Maurice deserves the win fully because those defenses did exactly what they were supposed to do. It was just, God, you want to talk about stressful and a disaster. That was the definition of my Sunday night.
Man, yeah. I'll go ahead.
But I mean, it was fun to experiment. He places defenses that nobody else places. So that was fun too, because, 90%, Mort said this, 90% of the people just place the same things, and you can easily plan for it, and you've fought it before, and you just kind of go through the motions, and you know how you can clear, or you know how you can win at least. I actually had to think, which is exciting. I mean, that's why I enjoy Grand Arena, because it's not just... It shouldn't be the same thing every time. He placed unique defenses, and for the most part, I got through it until I hit a JTR, Scav, and Watt team in the back, and at that point, I had nothing left. I mean, I had just nothing left, and his Watt had 90,000 something protection built into it, so tried AoE after AoE to slowly work Watt down, just so I could bring my Rolo in and pray for RNG to kill Watt. And then I could have cleaned up JTR and Scav easily. And 10 hits. Rolo gets 10 hits. Not a single one aimed for Watt in 3v3.
Oh, no.
Not a single hit even hit Watt. Didn't even try and hit him. And I was like, you know what? I'm done.
So that was bad RNG. To be fair, I think you needed good RNG for...
100%. I wasn't counting on it. Like, I didn't think that it was a guarantee or anything. I knew it was kind of a long shot, but it was the only shot I had with what I had left. And so I tried it, and it just said no. The game was just like, nope, not going to happen tonight.
We don't do this. Yeah.
Yeah. But, so now we're 1-1. We need a rubber match to see... We need a third matchup to see who's going to take the title. Yeah. But so, that was my week 3. Mort, how did yours...
Quick,
I'm
sorry, I don't want to interrupt Mort here, but I do want to say, as someone who watched your match solo, I do think you acquitted yourself quite well.
Well, thank you.
You played well. His defense was just perversely difficult, and you lost to an excellent player, so no shame at all in that.
Yes. Thank you.
To be real clear.
Thank you.
So, anyway, sorry to interrupt the flow of things. Mort, how was your final round this.
I
match
just want
this
to say
week.
on top of that too, right? Is you can't depend on GG. You can't depend on anything but in a battle like that, when you do those content creators, there's going to be some luck involved and some skill involved. So it's nice to see that you guys are 1-1, and a rubber match would be fun to watch. I don't think it even tells who's better than the other one. But as for my last round, I went in, like I said, negotiated the first time I've had it, got 2 holds going in, and I was confident I was going to get a hold in this one as well. Opened up my board at 2:00, which is 2 hours before reset, and saw that he full cleared me. So I tried to bait him into using his GG killer teams up front, which usually works. It didn't work because he killed it with 1 shot. He was very inefficient, though, trying to get to the back wall, which told me he was looking for that GG. So what ended up happening was he only scored 23-28 with a full clear, including a 2-shot on my ships. He put up a pretty good defense, and I got through him all 1 shot and was excited. And I had 5 minutes left on ships. And I used the excuse I was out of apple juice today because it makes me play better. And I ended up making a lot of mistakes in my first attack with my ships. And I also forget that I used to use Annie in a certain way, and now I have that on Negotiator, and I didn't plan for that, and I ended up failing on his ships. If I would have beat him and 2-shot his ship in that 5 minutes, I would have beaten him by 70 banners. It would have been an easy win. So the plan was right. The execution was terrible.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
Have apple juice ready for next time.
There will always be apple juice.
Prep the apple juice. If there's something you guys take from this stream, from this podcast, it's prep the apple juice beforehand.
Yes.
That will never happen again. Zareth, before you go, Fish, thank you for the follow.
Fishes.
Yeah. We don't know why you weren't here before this either. That's all right. Zareth, how'd your final match go?
Oh man, we're saving the most catastrophic for last, guys. So, I guess I'll start off by saying it was one of the worst losses I have ever taken. Faced off against a guy with more lifetime banners than me. The guy had, looking at his history, nothing really surprised me that much on his defense, except he very rarely places Jedi Luke, which he did this time. And so to also be clear, he only had 1 Galactic Legend. So he was operating at a disadvantage in terms of what characters he had, and it's the thing I've been making a big deal of. So he's just been playing really well. So going into this match, he was undefeated. His best finish in Grand Arena was number 20 something, 30 something. So he's had undefeated seasons before. He's just a good player. So he hadn't failed an attack going into my match. He takes almost all of his meta characters on offense, and I was like, man, all these defenses seem very beatable. I think I can get a clear pretty easily. And as it turned out, I think I could have. I made a mistake early on, so I got cheap. I used Kylo Ren. Normally I use the Kylo Ren plus First Order Executioner and Watt, and they'll kill. I haven't lost with them for a really long time, and so what I did, I was like, man, I want to save Watt here because I don't need this. I don't need him for. It was just a Kira with L3 and Nest, and that's all it was. And I was like, I can beat this in my sleep without Watt. I don't need Watt. And his L3 was modded actually in a way that I disagree with. It was just like speed on the arrow and stuff is strange, but his Nest was started to hit really hard, and she killed Kylo. She killed OG Kylo, just one shot him. He was almost full protection. She just destroyed him. And I was like, I might be in trouble. So I ended up killing Kira, and then Nest just killed my whole team. I couldn't get through L3. It was a complete shock to me. I was just very surprised. And if I had taken Watt there, I would have been fine. So, anyways, I needed something cheap-ish to beat him. So I think what I did, there was Geonosians visible. So what I ended up using like Thrawn and Thrawn lead with Nihilus. I ended up getting, quote unquote, full banners for that. I got, minus 20. I got 34. Got through that front zone, and he had Jedi Luke. I needed to use Supreme Leader Kylo there. I got decent banners, but what ended up happening, I was beating all these teams. I was doing pretty well. And then the thing that I've been failing on a lot this Grand Arena, and it's just, I don't know, a mental thing. Like we were talking about bounty hunters being good, but not super great. I have this thing where I think I just dismiss them as a threat, and Boss Lead has given me fits this Grand Arena on my main account, and it's just like this blind spot. And so I ended up getting stuck. I used like a Palpatine Vader team. I was pretty sure that was going to beat him. He had like Relic 5 Boba though, and like Relic and Zeta Dengar and all of this craziness. They ended up beating me. They ended up beating my Palpatine Vader squad just without much trouble at all. And I didn't have like all the teams that I had that could beat it. It ended up happening like just perfect for Boba. Like Boba would get almost dead. Like I'd kill him once, he'd be almost dead, like in yellow or red. And then he'd do an execute on someone who was close to death, and it'd restore. He had his Zeta, so it restored all the way up, health and protection with Bounty Hunter resolve. And anyways, I lost. I couldn't even get through his boss team. And then I used the one team that could pop his timeout team on the bottom. I'd used that to try to kill Bosk, so I couldn't clear that. Ended up only clearing one zone. And the only good thing that happened to me the whole match was he did finally, after all of that, he failed one attack on me, failed against my Dengar Nest squad. He said that Jedi Revan timed out on my nest. So that's good. He got the lowest banners against me than he got on anyone else. So that's also slightly good, but an embarrassing showing for me. And I'm glad 3v3 is over.
Amen
Thank
to that.
God.
Yes. Sometimes, you talk about the little wins. It's funny. Sometimes those are just as good as victories. Oh, not as good as victories, but makes me feel a lot better about the loss than just a straight loss. Like, it's like, oh, I did this I'm the only person that went up against him and did this. So it's not necessarily that I lost, or it's not that I lost it. It's that he's a good player and beat me, as opposed to I lost it, which, that's how I try and fall asleep, at least, by telling myself, oh, I didn't mess up. I didn't lose. It was he beat me, but I gave him a fight.
Right. Well, so yeah, looking at this though, like, so one thing that shocked everyone in the stream, and we were all like, how did he do that? So he put his Jedi Luke on defense. He used Rey to counter my Rey, which is fine. I knew he was going to do that. He's done that a ton in the past. The thing that everyone was super confused about though was he beat my Darth Revan for 52, and his Darth Revan was slower than mine. And maybe I already mentioned it earlier, actually, but
You did,
he actually,
yeah.
like he had switched speeds, and so I thought he had a slower Darth Revan, but his Revan was 4 faster than mine, so he just mirrored it, got 52, and I was counting on that. That was like the key to my defense. I was like, oh, I was so relieved when I saw his Jedi Luke was on defense, because I was like, oh, he can't beat my, like, maybe he'll get lucky with General Skywalker, but otherwise it's going to take at least 2 shots, and if I can just be more efficient, then we'll be good. And full kudos to that guy, though. He had some really interesting, unique defensive comps. I would highly recommend watching my video, not to see how good I am, but 1, to get me clicks, and 2, and more importantly, because he had some amazing team comps.
Yeah.
So, yeah, And the good thing about this match too, I realized, like, looking back at it, like, because he beat me so soundly, I was like, what have I done wrong? Like, not making excuses at all. I realized I've just been stuck in this, like, I haven't been creating new teams at all or looking for new teams in 3v3. I've just kind of mentally mailed it in. I didn't even realize it, but like,
Same here.
if I want to win, I got to stop doing that. Like, there's not really a good excuse for that. So, it sucks that it took the final loss of the season to do it, but it's probably good, because that means I don't actually have to not mail it in anymore. I can just continue. Yeah, it was 5v5, man. Can't come soon enough, and I hope we get like 5 seasons in a row of it.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm on board with that.
The
one thing I couldn't figure out about my matchup in this last one, I mean, obviously I lost to the best guy, right? He finished in first, but this guy I got 41 gear 12. That's all I had. This guy had 83 gear 12s, and I was like, how am I matched up against this guy? I thought I had Grand Arena figured out. I don't know what the algorithm was with that, which I'm not going to blame on my loss. Obviously, I'm sure there was more to it, but when I first looked at it, I'm like, how am I even with this guy? I don't understand that. I don't know if you guys got any thoughts on it. It doesn't make any sense to me.
I saw you on the stream. The only thing I can think of is
I have more relics. I had 9 to his 3. That's only 6. I mean, it's not an extreme amount. But
what about the Zetas?
He had more.
Really?
He had like 8 more.
Oh, then I honestly have no clue.
Yeah.
Look at Solo's matchup versus Gom, though.
That's true. Gom's roster puts mine to shame, and we're getting matched up. So
it's gross. I don't, nothing against your roster, Solo. I do think it's really good. I just like, and it mine too. So not, I'm in the same thing. Like, Gom has done some crazy things with his roster where he beats us on, he has better speed mods, like the same number of Zetas, I think. And correct me if I'm remembering this wrong, but he has like mountains of gear 13 over what we have. And like, we just like, and he has the same relic levels. It's crazy. He has an advantage or an equal level on every count. And yet he can be matched up with Solo, twice.
Yeah.
Because he's really, really paid attention to min-maxing his top 65 and the roster underneath that top 65.
Hold on. We can show you. We can just show you all of this red.
While you're doing that, I just want to say, so you got 33 teams on offense and 33 on D. This guy had all gold and then 19 more to spare, while I had one side of gold and three for gold. So I'm very happy with the result that I got for what I was going up against, but it doesn't compute. I've never seen that happen.
Yeah. There's my matchup against Gom. It's basically red. it's red.
Like, you have a few more Zetas, which may or may not matter, because he might just be saving some.
And 2 of those Zetas are Aura Singh, which didn't get used, and one of them is Cody. So there you go. There's all the Zetas. But yeah, he's got more tier 7 relics. He has got the mod difference. I have fantastic mods. Like, I take pride in my mods. And then you look at his, and I was just like, all right, well, there goes that. He's got, 25 more G13 than I do?
30.
And
oh, no, I'm looking at Gear 11. So.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, 25 more. Don't count.
Yep.
Yeah, and I mean, what he put there is exactly right. Everything over 80 doesn't count towards top 80, and that's how we got matched up.
Yeah, and that's the exact philosophy that my alt is doing. Is I don't have a relic level over 3 because I don't pay attention to arena at all.
Yeah,
and so I'm like in the top 600. I'm like I've fallen out of the top 500. But I don't care about my arena rank. I care about my grand arena doing well, and so relics are just hugely inefficient things. Like they just aren't, certain impact characters, sure, maybe I will never regret putting Relic 7 on Nest, for instance. But on my alt, my rule right now is no relics over 3 because of the inefficiency. That way I can pack more efficiency in the rest of my roster. Putting gear on characters, gear 12 pieces especially, is the most efficient thing you can do.
I did the same thing until my Nest lost in 3v3 to a Padme, and then I said never again, and I took her to 7.
That's
Fair.
good. Old Maurice says, we're 1-1. Clearly I need more stuff.
Oh, clearly I need more stuff too.
Yeah, I would say that just in terms of it, like, if you guys are 1-1, I'm slightly more impressed by solo winning quickly because you were unmatched, or like you were mismatched in terms of like just material resources. So, I mean, good on both of you guys though. You both put up two really great shows.
Yeah.
So we should actually move on. We've been going for a while, and this is only like the second segment. So
That's it is. That's true. All right.
I actually accidentally closed the thing, I think. Let's see.
Yeah, the next one is podcast questions that we're still trying to catch up on from like 3 weeks ago.
We are. All right. So, Mort, you can help us answer these, man. Question 1.
Oh, actually, that's an excellent question based on our last conversation.
Oh, it is. It is. And so these are questions people can go, if you go to our Discord server, you can ask these questions. We'll answer them once we get to it. You know, we're pretty diligent about getting through them, but people ask a lot of questions sometimes, and we can't get to them that week sometimes. But that being said, please ask, and we'll get to it. So the first question: can you discuss how to best utilize bounty hunters in GAC? Specifically, what comp would you ideally make, and how would you use it in GAC? They seem to have lost their luster as a 5v5 defensive team. Do the new bounty hunters change that? If they're best used on offense, what are the best team to target to get the best return on interest out of your farming?
Yeah. They're not a defensive team in 5v5. We would argue that they never have been. So yes, they have lost their luster as a 5v5 defense team. What would I do now? I mean, realistically, I would I know everybody places the Django lead. I know why people place the Django lead. I get it. But now, especially now that everybody has souped up resistance teams that are R7, I mean, unless your bounty hunters are super relict, I don't think it matters that you have the Django team on defense anymore. So I would probably go back to a Bosk lead. My Django is going to be used somewhere else. And so it would probably be Bosk, Boba, Dengar, Grief, and Mando at this point, I think. Now, who I would use that against? I don't know.
What are your thoughts, Mort?
Well, I don't have Mando or Grief or any experience with him other than what I see from the bigger accounts online, but I have always, and I'll always have and always will use the Bosk lead 95% of the time.
Yeah.
I relicked my philosophy was, until I was going after gas, relic the best character on the team for each team, and that's it. And I did Bosk, and I used that team. If you haven't learned how to kill Night Sisters with Bosk and Django and Boba, you need to learn that comp. I know people hate Night Sisters. I still use them on defense a lot. I still use them. Usually I'll use them as bait, and you'd be surprised at my level how many holes they still get with that relic Bosk. So, and I use just the standard, none of the new ones, none of the Mandos, anything along that line. So for me, they're still a viable one. And it's a no-brainer. Like we talked about earlier, Houndstooth. Houndstooth is, you got to have Houndstooth.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So I kind of do disagree. I think that they can be a really strong defensive team if you have a fast enough Bosk to go with a fast Django. So I like to, on defense, I like to put them in as just kind of a just as a banner stealer squad that could potentially, like, they've won entire matches for me before, because people, if your bounty hunters are fast enough and they're doing enough crazy stuff, like, it is really hard to actually beat a bounty hunter squad that 5v5 or 3v3. It's hard to beat a bounty hunter squad that's already set, and if you don't have like a really good counter to it, that you can struggle. So I do like them on defense. The new bounty hunters, I just don't know, man. I don't know how they change things. I think, I was talking to Gom actually earlier today, and he's talking about, like, he wants to build 2 bounty hunter squads, which I've typically always just said you shouldn't build 2 bounty hunter squads. There's barely enough for one. And so that's intriguing to me. I need to see what's going on with that. Even if I have to put all the gold balls on Zam.
Oh, I think that's what it is. I mean, you talk about banner stealing teams, and those thermals, that's exactly what's the banner stealers, because there's nothing more frustrating than they throw the thermals and you're just about to get the kill shot, and it's like Dengar's like, nah, here's 3 thermals for you that's just going to explode on each one of your characters and steal 3 banners right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm probably take this back to when we were planning territory wars, and I remember one day people were like, or I said something along the lines of, why do people put Django on defense? I just don't get it. It's the easiest kill I have in territory wars. And then somebody else was like, we can't all be solo. So I think I suffer from that because I like JTR so much that, I mean, the JTR versus Django fight is simple for me. Because I used JTR for 6 months. I know, literally, Zareth said earlier today in a different chat that the JTR meta wasn't that long, and I was like, I used her December to June, literally until I got Treya. I skipped over EP completely. And so I think I'm so used to using JTR that bounty hunters, I see them and I'm just like, oh, thanks for the easy win. Thanks for the 60 banners. The only team that scares me is like the Bosk lead. Then you have Dengar, Zam, Greedo, and Boba on the team. Because it's like, Boba will eventually get off an ability block, and then you just can't kill the other 3 before they get off 3 thermal detonators on you. And it's just annoying. Like, it's not a fight I will ever lose. It's just annoying because you just watch the banners disappear slowly. Thanks to those stupid thermal detonators.
Oh man, it's so tough. Thermals can wreck your day. I think that bounty hunters. So the big thing, some people have started calling it the Zareth special, so to speak. And for whatever. So here's the awesome thing about bounty hunters is if Darth Revan doesn't have Bastila with him, bounty hunters can kill that team.
Yeah.
So like Bosk lead, you get 60 banners against a Darth, even like as long as your relics are decently close, your Bosk team is going to beat. Like I have consistently, in territory wars and otherwise, like, sometimes you've hit these walls and they want to use Bastila for something else. And it takes some of the guilds like a while to actually be okay with it. But I'm like, look, I can totally do it. I have a ton of video. Like, even with my Gear 12 Dengar and Embo, I'm still consistently beating full Gear 13 Darth Revan squads, even if they don't have Bastila. Like, they can have Malak, and they're still fine. So it's just an interesting interaction between the leadership and the leadership on Bosk and the leadership on Darth Revan. Darth Revan hands out all these debuffs to everyone on his squad, and all of those debuffs count as healing 5% each. to each bounty hunter. So every time someone gets a stack, the whole team gets a stack of 5 ferocity. That's plus 25% health and protection healing on each bounty hunter.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I love that counter. I was happy that I was able to actually use that against Episdoe. That was probably the only one saving grace against him in that last match. Gosh, I needed to pull every trick I had.
Yeah. Yeah.
But,
I made that mistake using Darth Revan against bounty hunters once. Hits me, Tom. Thank you for the follow. But I won easily because it's when you're playing the team on offense, it's a lot easier than obviously what's going on when the team is playing on defense and targeting random people. But it's like, why is this team taking so long to kill? Oh God, are you kidding me? And I had to just slowly whittle them down. It was so annoying.
yeah, well, that squad, you could almost time out if the relics were reversed and you had lower level relics on your Bosk or on your Darth Revan team. I could see that against a relic 6 or 7 Bosk squad. I could see timing out.
Oh yeah.
Or really just being one shot 1 by 1 by Boba.
Yeah.
Frankly, but anyways, let's move to the next question.
All right.
Question. I know X, that's me, Zareth complains about being matched up again versus Double Galactic Legends, but do you have more fun with the challenging matches or with the matchups where you are well above them, i.e. your higher efficiency alt account? This is in response to Bulldog's video where he shows how crazy he has exploited matchmaking and how it looks like he has zero fun in matchups. So what about you, Mort? This is do you have fun when it's a challenge, or do you like just kicking someone's ass?
Well, you guys have seen me, all right? So we have a fun stream, but then when it comes to GAC, I'm just dead ass serious, right? I still have fun with it. I hate to lose because I'm super competitive, but I do like a challenge. I was gonna bring it up earlier. I don't know about you guys, but I almost never see anybody auto set or not show up. I don't know if it's because of where I rank or whatever else. And I see people do it all the time. And I'm like, that's boring. I'm glad it doesn't happen. But at the same time, when you're trying to compete with Nev and everybody else, and I've seen, I think 2 this time that he had, and I'm like, how am I supposed to compete with this? But I enjoy the challenge. The challenge to me, because like you said, I would have loved to seen gone up against something that Gam did to you. That's just a lot of fun to really just get the brain thinking,
Yeah, I think... So there's 2 parts of this question. It's, do you enjoy the challenge? The answer is yes. I would want the challenge. Maybe not every round, because sometimes when you spend, 4 hours trying to figure something out, you could use a break. But I would take the challenge over the just, I'm going to set the same thing defenses every time. I'd rather have the challenge. But the first half of this question is talking about, when you're matched up just against the roster that's absurdly better than yours. And I don't mean what we were talking about between me and Gam, because somebody even said it in chat. Once you get to 80 relic characters, anything after that's just kind of gravy. But when you're up against, my alt, the free-to-play alt, I have a Galactic Legend. Not this season, but in the 5v5 season, it's the first time I missed Kyber on the alt. I had a streak from the exhibition season up to last season of making Kyber, and I missed it because there were just times I was going up against people that I had 0 counters. There was no counter available for what they were putting down. And that wasn't a challenge. That was depressing. I wanted to quit my alt. I wanted to quit my alt because I couldn't counter them. And being free to play, I couldn't gear the counters up fast enough to make it work. And now, thanks to this 3v3, when we start 5v5, I will have some of the counters built up, so it shouldn't be as bad next time. But, the worst thing I did on my alt was unlock the Galactic Legend. And on that account, when I unlocked the Galactic Legend, I had 36 G13, with 13 of them being for Ray. So literally a third of my G13 were just to get the Galactic Legend, and of those 13, like what, 6 are actually useful against meta teams. And so I was screwed, and I was just depressed. So there's a difference between a challenge and a just, well, sorry, sorry type of fight. And Zareth, what do you? I mean, technically, this was talking about you. What do you think about this?
That's fair. Yeah. So I think you guys are right. It's just hard, man. I love my alt and the matches that I get. It's fun, but what I like about it is I don't have to think that much about it. Like I just march in and like I do no research. I just like prance in with my teams, and you'll see these streams where I'm like, I have no idea what I'm facing or what he has or anything, and I identified a problem with my defenses like a few matches ago, like a couple weeks ago even, but I just haven't bothered to take any steps to change that. And I'm like, that's what I enjoy about my alt. If I had to do that with my main, I would probably have quit though. Like, so for me, it scratches a different itch. I just like rolling in and not having to think at all about my matchup for my alt. For my main, yeah, I thrive on, like, I was super excited actually going into this match against the guy who just pounded my ass, frankly, in that last match. Like, I was super excited because he's a good player. Like, I wanted to have that match. Like, I was excited about it. It didn't go my way by any stretch, but yeah, I like challenges. Like the challenge, and honestly, like so let's say that all I had was easy matches. Like, there's also the business aspect of like, I'm trying to show compelling Grand Arena matches, and there are guys I don't watch, not because they're not a good player, but because the people they're destroying are just not very exciting to fight. I'm like, well, you're gonna win. Like, why should I bother watching? Like, you're just gonna destroy them. So yeah, to me, I like having that challenge, and I think people like watching the harder matches too.
Yeah, I agree completely with that. I've talked to people that have said that the most interesting streams that they've watched for Grand Arena is the auto deploys, because the streamers that are streaming it actually have to talk about kit mechanics and actually think about it, as opposed to, oh, there's the KRU team on defense. I'm going to use the souped up KRU team. I'm going to use my souped up JTR team, and it's just going to be like nothing, you know. So I've heard that auto deploys are actually more interesting for people to watch, just because they're a huge challenge of, oh, how am I going to beat Supreme Leader Kylo, Gas, and JTR on the same team?
I love auto deploys. They're a lot of fun. I just don't ever see them.
Yeah, I've had one auto deploy in the last 24 rounds. So I saw one last week. That's it.
Yeah, it's pretty rare for me. I think what I think a lot of it is our investment level, like our collective investment level. Like, Mort, you're just like a year behind us basically. But I think that it's the investment level. Like, people have paid for their toys and they want to use them, and so for us to see these people who are auto deploying, it means that they have all these, they spend a lot of time and effort upgrading their stuff to the point where, like, it would be a huge waste to them. Like, they would hate the idea of just like letting them go by the wayside. I know that some people do still do that after having invested a lot, but I very rarely see auto deploys. I certainly didn't see any this season, and I think last season as well.
Yeah. Though I will say, with auto deploys, my favorite part about that is it does the theory crafting for you. little hint out there. If anyone wants to stop an off-meta Supreme Leader Kylo counter, just put JTR with Supreme Leader Kylo. It's the only loss I had against this auto deploy was because JTR put healing immunity onto my Jedi Knight Revan, because I had tried using the Revan Luke Hoda counter, put healing immunity on, and I couldn't heal, and Jedi Knight Revan died so quickly because Hoda couldn't heal him. I was like, man, that's brilliant. If I play Supreme Leader Kylo on defense, JTR is going on that team. So, you learn things from auto deploys as well.
Yeah. Jedi training Rey with Supreme Leader Kylo.
Who would, it sounds stupid. Like, I know it sounds stupid, but it worked. Well, it worked for the defense team, not for me, unfortunately.
That's fair.
Yeah.
What do you think? Should we do one more, or should we
Yeah,
move on?
let's do one more.
All right. Why don't you read it this time? My fleet battle.
Let's... Actually, I'm going to skip to the bottom, and we're just going to save this one for next week, then.
Okay.
All right. What are your top 3 most tricky non-meta characters that you place on defense? I feel like this one can be a fun answer. So, what are 3 characters that you place on defense that aren't necessarily expected, or, you know, kind of obviously like Jedi Knight Revan, Geos, etc., that people expect on defense?
That's a really good question.
It is.
If you want, we were a little bit warned about it. If you want, one of us can go first.
I was gonna say, why don't you guys go first? 'Cause I
want
want to log into my account and look, because I know I have some. I was just on the wrong account.
Yeah, I was just unfortunately doing that myself, and Zareth is doing a fleet arena battle.
So I'm done with my fleet thing.
All right.
So here, let me look at. I can open up my fleet.
I love that
So-
question though.
It's a fantastic question. Yeah, I like it. I can tell you, actually, I'll say this, because from my GOM matches, I had to switch my defenses up. And I got to watch his videos. I loved watching CLS, Chupio, and 3PO on defense. That team, and I got into a fight with somebody on our Discord server about that team this morning, actually. And then I saw Gum's video, and I was like, I was right. This justifies everything. It just does so much damage. And my Chupio he's only 4 stars. I mean, I don't have a G13 R7 Chupio. He's 4 stars, but there's exposes that are coming from 3PO every time he assists. They're just doing so much damage. I mean, it ripped through Gom's Jolie like Jolie was nothing. It was fantastic to watch. So, I don't know if you would count that as not meta.
Yeah, hard to tell right now.
It's hard to tell, but I mean, I really enjoyed that team. Let's see, who else do I have on here?
Well, and so I think the question too was just just individual
Individuals.
characters too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I also kind of think that this, for the most part, there's a lot more answers to 3v3 than there is 5v5, because we don't split our synergies up typically.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah, I would agree with that as well.
And I've got a bunch on the 3v3 side.
So like what kind of things?
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't want to cut him off.
Oh, no, that's fine.
So the holds that I've got, my MVP last 3v3 was a Gear 11 Basti, a Gear 12 Mace, and a this time he was Relic 7. Last time he was G12, but GK. So it was Basti, Mace, GK, and I put them in the rear, and they held almost every time. This last time they held up front twice. The healing on that team is stupid. The recovery.
Yeah.
And then a really good one that surprises people, Sherpa Wicket C3PO. The synergy there, I've gotten a lot of holds off that one. Let's see. The Poggle Soldier Droidica is a good combination that's gotten a lot of holds. And surprisingly, believe this or not, you guys know I use the Jawas versus the Geos.
Yep.
They're actually better in 3v3 versus the Geos than they are in 5v5.
I saw that match today. Who I forget. It was Scavenger versus who?
It was
But it was a one-on-one battle that the Jawa won.
it was
Are you kidding?
Sunfuck.
Yes, it was. That's who it was.
Yeah, I ended up getting rid of all of them, and the bomb didn't go off on time on Sunfuck. Half of it went off, not the other half.
Yeah.
I've only lost that combination once, and you got to figure my Jawas are 44k at 3v3, and that battle I lost, they were 67k, and I was this close from taking them out.
Yeah.
This close. So
Yeah.
I highly recommend them Jawas in 3v3. 5v5, you're losing banners, but
I'll say this: Solo disdains Jawas every opportunity he has.
I do. I hate. Well, especially in 5v5, where it's like, great, you beat this Geo team that you could have beaten with the Sith trio, and you got 47 banners off it. Like,
yeah.
Congrats. You just geared your Jawa. I know people that have geared their Jawas up to gear 13, and I'm like, for 47 banners, you geared these 5 tunes up to G13 to get 47 banners against a team that, I mean, Geos, I don't know about the lower divisions, but in Division 1, Geos are being put on defense less and less now.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, why would you do that?
Yeah, so it's a highly inefficient team, but I think the awesome part about Jawas, and we were talking about good old Maurice about this, and what he does with them, and then I tried it and it worked with my Gear 9 Jawas. Like, your Jawas work as a great desperation team if you need to. Like, one of the things that Gom did, and then I just replicated if you want to, if General Grievous is in your way and you don't really have a great counter to it, and you need to clear everything else out, use Jawas and you can kill B1, and then the Jawas will die. But then without B1, that team kind of implodes, and you might need to use 2 or 3 more smaller teams, but you just pick it apart. And it was just this transformative moment for me when I was because I put a stupidly tough defense down, and then my opponent put a little stronger than he usually does, and I was like, I don't know how I can kill this General Grievous squad. I don't have a squad that can do it, that I can afford to use. So I was like, I guess I'll just try my Gear 9 Jawas to kill B1, and that worked. And then I used another squad to snipe out B2, and that worked. And I just, I ended up with 5 teams, but in the end it cost me almost nothing, because none of those teams were squads I would use anyways.
One other one that I have left that is that gets a lot of holds because I think they underestimated is Phasma Lead, First Order TIE Pilot, and First Order Stormtrooper. And probably because mine are modded well, but it gets me a lot of holds up front.
Nice.
Or they'll overinvest.
I think that's the thing, is trying to trick your opponent into using squad, into overinvesting. Exactly. One character I want to shout out, and I mentioned him early, that I've been getting some mileage out of. I don't think I'm using him quite right. When I finally did start using him right, though, it's Dengar Lead. And the fact is, he's good with non-bounty hunters as well. He has more synergy with bounty hunters, but what he does, he cuts your critical damage down by 50%. So I don't know, that's probably just additive is my guess, but that's still a significantly less amount of damage than you're used to if you're critting. And so what I did, I put Dengar with Stormtrooper Han at Relic 7 and his Zeta, and then Nest at Relic 7 and her Zeta. And my opponent just even with Grandmaster Yoda in there, couldn't kill Nest. So, with Jedi Revan and Grandmaster Yoda. So that's what my last opponent failed on. I think there's a lot of mileage to be found with Dengar Lead. I've actually faced a few other weird teams with Dengar Lead plus Malak, and Malak has Crit Avoid or something, arrow. So I don't know. You can do some interesting stuff with him. It's something I would like to explore further. Anyway, so go to the next section here. Alt life. So
We all have alts.
we do.
Good
So,
Lord.
Mort, did I understand you? You said you don't do Grand Arena with your alts.
No, I do it. I just don't plan them.
Okay, so
I look
same
over
with,
my opponent real quick, and I place my defense.
That's basically the same as us.
yeah, I just let it ride. I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm placing this, and even if I realize it's a mistake, I'll just maybe change it next week. Probably not.
Yeah.
So I've got a 3.7 mil GP alt. Solo has what? Yours is 6.2.
Yeah.
And Mort, what's yours?
Main's 4.2, alt is 2.3, and test account is just shy of 1 million.
So how did your week go with your alt, Mort?
Overall, I had 10-2 for the entire Grand Arena on my alt, with a loss in the first round and easy wins in the last two.
Nice. Anything interesting?
Overall, yeah, I'm learning DR for the first time, because I've always been like anti-DR, for just because I like playing the underdog. So I didn't do it on my other account, and so I've been playing the DR, and I'm getting to learn that, and I don't know if I geared that thing right or if it's really that badass. I know I hate playing against it, but I'm really enjoying playing it on that account. So I had some pretty good wins with that one. But overall, like, interesting. The first round, the guy had a monster JKR that I absolutely could not get through, and other than that, it was an easy sweep.
Nice. Solo, how did yours go?
I went 2-1. God, I faced Ray all 3 times, and the first time, my first fight, we both placed the same exact team comps, because he usually can't beat Ray when he places his Ray. Ironically, he was able to clear his with the Suicide Ray strategy, and then when I tried mine, the first time in a while it's failed, but mine failed. So I failed to get the full clear. He got the full clear. My second round, my opponent was gonna miss Kyber, and so he messaged me and said, "Hey, I'm not gonna set defenses. Can you just set 1 week team for me, just so that I can get the first order trooper feat?" And so I did, and he set all gear 1s. So I missed max banners by 4 banners, just because he didn't have. It wasn't a good fleet, but his fleet was decent enough that I had to bring in, a full starting lineup to beat it, rather than just soloing his fleet. And then the third match was, it was a legit match, and I was just more efficient. Like, I placed DR on defense every time on that account as well, and it took him three tries to get through it, and his defense wasn't that strong, so I was able to full clear in one shot. So I finished 2-1 for the week, 10-2 overall for the season with my alt. So it was fairly strong finish. Sarah, what's that?
Kyber?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Zareth, how'd your alt do this week?
This is the hardest week for sure. 2 guys, actually, all 3 of my opponents had Darth Revan with relics. I think only 2 of them placed him on defense, though. Yeah, let me think. Yeah, I beat him. I beat them pretty good, I guess. Let's see. My second round opponent had a really rough defense. They placed a ton of really strong teams on defense. So I got through. I needed to kill their Darth Revan squad. So what did I put a burner in, and I tried to use General Grievous to kill Bastila. It didn't quite work. So then I tried Padme, and Padme was able to kill just Bastila, or maybe it was Commander Luke that killed Bastila. Yeah, it was Commander Luke that killed Bastila. And then I used bounty hunters. They killed Darth Revan. I couldn't quite kill Malak. And then I had to use Kylo Ren with Watt to kill Malak. So then the rest of the squad's really tough. So I ended up with the back zone. I was like, I don't know. I had to use like machine gun Leia, which is something I hadn't done for a while. Oh, and I didn't actually use Watt. I saved Watt because I knew I'd been using so many characters. So I used my like Gear 9 Kylo Ren, OG Kylo Ren without a Zeta or anything. I ended up killing Malak anyways. And then in the back zone, yeah, I used like Gear 8 machine gun Leia, which is like Akbar lead with Gear 8 Leia and like Gear 12 3PO, and you just get so many exposes that it kills the team. They killed like a Gear 12 Ewok team, if I remember correctly, and then I used Watt with Dengar, Lead, and Cad Bane to kill a random like Wedge Biggs rebel team. So I went through. I got a full clear. The only team I'd failed on was that Darth Revan team. I was like, yes, I can't wait to see, like, they don't have much for offense at all. I want to see how much I break them. And then they didn't attack.
Oh, I hate that.
So it was pretty cool. My last opponent didn't have a hard defense. I destroyed it really efficiently. And then he wasn't efficient against me. So I don't know. That was my 59th consecutive win. My next one will be 60. And I'm staying in Division 3 for one more season, I believe.
Excellent.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. So that's my alt. My alt is fun. It's good. It's don't have to think. So our final segment here is, this is a character collection game, and we'd like to actually play the game to advance our accounts and whatnot. So so we always talk about what kind of things we've been doing just to get an edge in Grand Arena in the future. What kind of things have we been working on? So more like what are the things you did this week, or thereabouts? Like, what are the main things you've been working on for your account?
So about a month and a half ago, actually it's probably longer than that. God, it's been longer. And I knew gas was coming, in April? Is that right? May. So in April, I was like, oh, you know what? I just opened DR, and I'm like, damn it. So I was like, I didn't realize how close I was to gas. So I thought, and then I started gearing him up. And then when the event came out, I got through the ships with no problem, got to stage 2, and I could get B2 down to 10%. And that was it. And I was like, okay, obviously this isn't going to happen. So I went about a month, which is kind of getting the gear. And then I realized how much they actually needed. So for the last month and a half, I've been 100% nothing but energy on gas preparation, and I'm finally done. So I finished that 2 days ago, and now I am working on the Jedi Luke characters.
Excellent.
Awesome. Jedi Luke, man, it
He's
just
so
kills
good.
me. He's so good. People are like, he sucks, and I'm like, well, maybe if you compare him to the stupid Galactic Legends, but
Yeah,
like even then, he doesn't suffer that much in comparison. Like he's legitimately a very strong character, and I'm excited to see what new compositions we're going to be able to have with him later down the line.
and I'm big on undersizing. Like I got my R7 Nest, I've got Wampa at 11, so Wampa's already there. I use my Jawas, which I kind of consider them an undersize because nobody's using them, and I've only got them at like 70K, and I'm taking out up to 95K geos. So I'm really looking forward to having Wampa up even higher. So that'll be exciting for me because that's more undersized potential.
Yeah, people in the chat are making fun of the way I say Jawas.
Jawas. I just told them I spell it. Basti. I call her Basti anymore, even Dark Basti, because I call her Bastia, just like tortilla. So people give me hell about it. I'm like, it's not Bastila. It doesn't. Who spells it that way? It's English language.
Listen, it's tortilla. obviously.
Obviously, that's right.
Just like
That's
a
where I'm making the
quesadilla.
mistake. That's right. I'm making that. That's where I made the mistake. I wish
That's-
somebody would have pointed that out.
Yeah, we got to Americanize everything. Yeah. I could just call them Jawas, I guess.
Jawas.
Jawas. I don't even know what accent that is. I kind of like it though.
Kind of Jersey.
Yeah, it is kind of East Coast something. So let's see. So Solo, what about your account? What have you been doing?
Well, I've been getting ready for the Mon Mothma team in 5v5, so did nothing to prepare for this week, but I did. Mon Mothma is now Gear 11, and she has all the Gear 11 pieces that can go on her while she's still only 3-star. I got Hoth Rebel Scout to Gear 12 by accident. Literally, he was Gear 8. I put a stun gun on him, and then I clicked upgrade, and then it said I could upgrade again, so I did it, and then it said I could upgrade again, and I did it, and I just kind of kept clicking upgrade until he was Gear 12 without having to farm anything. So Scout is Gear 12 now.
Nice.
That's really all I've done. I've started hoarding Zetas again, just because I feel like there's going to be a new character release, so I'll keep Zetas in my back pocket. And now I want to get Scout to Gear 13, hopefully before the start of next Grand Arena, and then I think I'm going to go for Chopper, because why not? I like Chopper. I've always liked Chopper, and I can start to throw a Relict Chopper in with my JTR team to move Finn off and into a different team. So yeah, that's my plan on my account and what I've done. Zareth, what about you?
I've done almost nothing at all on my account. It totally wiped me out to get Ray to Relic 7 last week. Like, I have like almost no Gear 12 or Gear 13, whatever, Gear 12 pieces, I guess, at all remaining. Like, I'm just, after that push, I'm just totally depleted. I did just randomly get Chupio up to to Gear 11. And I've started today. I've had 5 refreshes total that I've looked in the store, and he has not been in the store. I've decided, though, that I'm going to buy his shards and get him up to 7 stars early if I can. But I'm not going to pay for refreshes on the store for, I don't know, that's maybe too frustrating. So I'm planning on getting Chupio up. I was hoping I'd have him at relic levels before the first round of Grand Arena, but it's looking doubtful. Like, I literally have bought 0 shards since I've decided to do it, and it's been over a day. So
yeah.
So yeah, that's really, I think, the thing I'm going to be working on, though. So Chupio is kind of independent. I need to get Cara Dune and Mothma up past Gear 8. Mothra is ridiculous to gear. She needs a lot. And I have the Mando and Grief. They're close to 6 stars right now. I'm farming them. They've been at Gear 11 with Zetas for a while, though. So
yeah. Yep.
Anyways, that's what we've been doing for our accounts. Exciting times. And so before we get into talking about our stuff and all of our content stuff, we need to stress, guys. So go check out MORT, and he does Twitch a lot. He's puts on a really good show. Really laid back atmosphere. There may or may not be some motorboating involved. Yeah, it's a good time. So
Definitely adult rated. Definitely.
Yeah. So I'll put a link to it in the podcast description.
Appreciate that.
People go check him out. Also,
and I put it, Jareth, I just put it in the chat too.
Great. I was just about to say I was going to do that. So save me the problem. So guys, go go give him a follow. Next time he's on, you won't regret it. Cubs fan just recently endorsed him, and now he's got 1 million people. So don't expect to actually have him read your comments, but it's kind of a big deal.
There's a story behind that.
And listen, Mort has people to read his comments for him.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. They come so fast now, man. I'm old and blind.
And famous. So famous. You can't keep up with your fame, brother. So.
Yeah. This is a small community. The fame will never get too big. Cubs and these guys, they do it as a full-time job. It's not my full-time job. I do it for fun, to have a good time and enjoy the community out there, enjoy you guys. I mean, like when we talked in the beginning, you're like, oh, this guy's getting too big. I can't believe he actually didn't just say no to coming on the show. I'm like, are you kidding me? I love this community. I love big brain. I even love small brain. Oh, by the way, Rico, what's up? I'm just kidding, buddy. I love you. I know I love you. Rico just popped in, so yes, boating season.
Yeah. Speaking of, Ando just said that Ando is going to be on our show next week.
He will be. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, exciting times ahead. We've got all sorts of people lined up. Big brain people, as you say. But yeah, we were excited. Thanks for coming on our show, Mort.
It's been fantastic.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
We'll have to get it going again soon. But for now, Solo is the man to tell everyone about our stuff that people can access. We have a counter sheet, we have YouTube, we have Twitch, we have a Discord server, and I don't know how I lucked out and don't have to do it, but Solo does it.
Well, you just did it, so
yeah, you just did it.
I mean, really. All right, since Jareth is lazy, aka he lucked out.
There you go.
So
whatever, man. You admit that you're lazy as well.
Oh, I know I am.
How we've been so consistent with our podcast. But continue.
Here's the deal. So we have multiple avenues that you can find information to help you with your Grand Arenas. Obviously, Zareth and I are on Twitch. We are both commenting in the chat. If you're live, you can click on either of our names to bring you to our individual channels. If you're listening to this afterwards in podcast form, links will be in the description below to bring you to our individual channels. After we go on Twitch, we put the videos on YouTube so that you can watch them, because Twitch will get rid of the video after 2 weeks. So you can watch our videos on YouTube as well. You can just search my name, SOLOBASS15, or Zareth is XAERETH. You can find us on YouTube. Then, after we place the videos on YouTube, what we do is we put timestamps in them of every fight that we do, or at least every interesting fight that we have done. We then put that information all onto a spreadsheet. You can find the link below, both here on Twitch or in the podcast description or in any of our YouTube video descriptions. Now, this sheet has the full team that we faced, it has the full team that we used, rather than, just having a little head of Talzin and then a head of Veers. You can see the full team, and then to the right, there is a time-stamped link that will bring you to the actual fight. That way you can see how the counter works. It'll show you what moves to use. You can see what gear we used, and most importantly, you can see how we have the team set up to see if you can actually use the counter or how successful it was, because sometimes we have counters on that sheet that in theory they work, in practice they do not work that well, but we got the win anyway. Then finally we have our Discord channel. There's a link down below. Whether you're here on Twitch, you are listening to the podcast or the YouTube videos, we even have the link on the counter sheet. It's a Grand Arena centered Discord page. There's a lot of people in there, a lot of people to answer questions if you have them. And I think that sums it all up. So Zareth, I think it's that time of night, or I should say that time of morning and it's time to go.
I think you're right, Solo. I did want to say that someone commented. They said another way they can reach me is you can search Hoth Ski Patrol for X, then message X and ask him how to contact Zareth, the second X guy. Wonder how many people have done that.
I would like to give a shout out to myself for behaving so that you can put this on YouTube today.
We appreciate that, sir. Well done. Well done. There is no ASMR streams playing on this podcast.
Yeah, but thanks, guys.
Thanks for coming, Mort. It was a great time. Thank you. We always enjoy you, and glad to get you on the page.
One of the great joys. One of the really fun things about Twitch has been finding a whole extra group of creators that we weren't necessarily aware of before now.
Oh,
So,
definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. With that said, guys, have a good week. We won't be back on Friday because there is no Grand Arena. We will be back next Monday with Ando, and then we'll be back the following Friday for 5v5, thank God, and we will have Klesso, who was the first member of our Friday night stream, doing Grand Arena, and he is coming back. So we will see you all in a week. Thank you, everyone.
thanks, everyone. Have a great night.
And remember, evil sucks.